There we go. Okay, we're recording. So welcome to the Good Five Tribe Team Call. Announcement-wise, all we have is we have Super Saturday / Sunday coming up this weekend. So I will be at the Toronto Super Sunday. And we have the Diamond Dinner on Saturday night as well. Danielle Natoni is our guest speaker. We also have like a personal development life coach coming, and she's going to be doing the opening for us as well. Danielle Natoni will be doing the live workout. It'll be insanity. So if you do not live in the GTA area, make sure that you kind of check out on back in the back office where the closest Super Saturday, Super Sunday is to you, okay? These are amazing events to get to. They're kind of like mini summits, and they'll really kind of amp you up for the last quarter of your business, okay? What else do I have? Challenge groups coming up. So I know a lot of you just started a challenge group this past week. If you have not started a challenge group or you are not part of one, just please reach out and message me. Heather and I are running a group starting on October 29th. It's going to be called the Little Black Dress Challenge. We did some amazing planning around that today as well. So be sure to reach out and message me if you have any questions about challenge groups going forward and you want to be part of one, okay, guys? So tonight we have a very special guest speaker. I'm so thankful for her to do this call. Rachel, were you in Jesse Regan's training as well? I feel like that's where I first saw you. Let me turn this light down. So I was in Jesse's training, and that's where I first spotted Rachel. And then I was in Josh Coates' training, and she shared this amazing video. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know what? I just got to reach out to this girl. I just have to ask if she'll be a guest speaker because I resonated with her story so much. My story is basically her story. It is crazy. And so now she has had an amazing year, an incredible year. She is a 5-star diamond in her first business center, and she is a 2-star in her second business center. And so I had somebody message me today and they're like, what's a second CBC? That's your second business center. So when you go 2-star in your first business center, you get to open up another business center underneath yourself, basically, which essentially can do some amazing things for your income. And then you can actually do that up to 15 times. As a Beachbody coach. So it's pretty amazing. So 2-star in her second CBC. She's a retired teacher, a 6-figure-a-year earner, a toddler mom, and a Success Club All-Star legend, and has also popped 8 diamonds this year. So I'm super excited to welcome you, Rachel, to the call. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to you, and I'm excited to take some notes.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having me. I'm loving your energy here. I'm definitely an energy reader. So do me a favor, you guys, and really use the chat. And like Michelle said, I was a teacher, so I really love questions. And I really think that's the best way that we learn. And there will never be a question that I'm uncomfortable answering. So I really think that's the best way to learn is through asking questions. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about my story, and then I'm going to talk to you about recruiting because that's a huge part of my story now. Obviously this year with advancing that many diamonds, and a lot of them were newer recruits. So anyways, I've been a coach for 3.5 years. And like Michelle said, when you get to open a second business center, crazy stuff happens with your income. It doubles because that's just how math works, and it doubles. So anyways, that I just thought of that. I have that type of brain too. I just think of random things to say. So anyways, I've been a coach for 3.5 years, and I was not ever looking for this opportunity at all. I was student teaching at the time, and I'd actually just gotten engaged recently, and but I was drowning in chronic fatigue, and it was no way to live for a 22-year-old. It was horrible. And my coach is one of those people, she's just one of those people that can just attract leaders to the business. And she doesn't really work the business like I do, but she just has that light about her that she just finds people. But anyways, so she started talking to me about it. And to be honest, I was about Beachbody, and I was like, yeah, whatever, because I knew everyone in the building was doing Beachbody, was doing 21-day fix, and I thought they were I thought I was a badass because I was going to the gym. So I was obviously like way more fit than these people. I really thought home workouts were a joke. And I was really interested in Shakeology, and she would talk to me about it a little. And then I was that person that was researching like ingredient labels at home. I was doing cost breakdown myself. She kind of could like take it or leave it if I signed up. But I'd like been doing my research, and then 21 Day Fix Extreme was coming out, and I was like, well, I'm extreme, and I knew I could like get a good deal on a bundle. So I was like, I mean, that's a really easy way to get me to buy anything is if you tell me it's a good deal. So I signed up, and she told me it would be better to sign up as a coach because I would save more in if I continued with Shakeology. And I made sure that there was no penalty if I canceled because I was sure that this wouldn't work either because I'd been struggling for so long. Long story short, it obviously had me hooked, and I just started telling people about what I was doing. I've never had a problem talking about the fitness side of things because that changed me first. And home workouts were obviously not a joke. I got my ass handed to me. I like put in leg day, and I thought it was going to be the easiest thing ever. And if you've ever done 21 Day Fix Extreme legs, you know it is not a joke. And it was very embarrassing and very humbling. And a week later, people were coming up to me like, Rachel, your energy is unreal. And it would bring me to tears because I never thought anyone would say that to me. I was honestly afraid to, one, get married because I didn't know when I could take a nap that day. I knew I wouldn't be able to take a nap. That's how bad my chronic fatigue was. And I was afraid to become a mom because I knew that you would lose sleep. So I was like, how am I going to do that? And now I have a very energetic toddler. It was basically my 22-year-old self worst nightmare is my son. And he's amazing, but he requires a lot of energy, and I have that now because of Beachbody, which is pretty amazing. So, like I said, I really had no problem like sharing the fitness side of things, and I've always been very coachable. So if someone would tell me like about, you know, what posting was like and stuff at the time, I would do it. But I was really uncomfortable sharing about the coaching opportunity because I hadn't seen success for myself. Sort of. I always have hit success clubs since I became a coach. So it wasn't that I was unsuccessful. I just didn't understand the potential of this business. I just couldn't wrap my brain around it until I went to like live events. And then I started to, but honestly, no one was really telling me to talk about the coaching opportunity because like I said, my coach is pretty hands off. She doesn't really coach. So no one was really telling me to talk about the coaching opportunity. So I didn't. And if I had a challenger who asked me about the business, like I would ask my challengers, like if they wanted to work the business. And so if they said yes, like after their 3 weeks in my boot camp, I was like, awesome. And so I started to build a team that way. And I basically built to 2-star that way. I was a self-made diamond. I made my husband emerald and my mom emerald because I was just like, I'm just going to do this. Like diamond is 100% a mindset. It's legitimately a choice, just like emerald is. So I was just like, no, I'm going to be a diamond coach. It's just a different level of commitment in the business. And I knew that it would overflow into the people I was talking to. So then like I said, I really built that way to 2-star. One of my first diamond, she's no longer even a coach on my team. And then I built my husband to diamond. And then I opened my second business center. And then, so I was lifetime 2-star, and then it all fell apart. My whole business fell apart. I dropped rank to a lifetime one, or you're always lifetime. I was lifetime 2-star, but I dropped to a 1-star because of my second business center was diamond. I started working that, and that became diamond. And I held that lesser rank for 2 years. And yes, my income was growing because of a second business center. Second business center is life, you guys. Like I built my own income because when you put an order in your second business center, the volume bumps up to your spouse account and to your first business center. So I was making like double because of team cycle bonus. off of like challenge packs. So my income was growing, but my team was not growing, and I was just feeling super frustrated because my team was growing, but so slowly. I knew I could do more. And to be honest, like I felt like I was an elite coach, even though I didn't have the rank to back it up, like 5-star rank, because I've always had my points, my elite points, like my coach, I've always had a couple of coaches hit Success Club because they would do what I did. And because they were doing what I did, they didn't really recruit, but my volume was good. I was always growing, but my rank wasn't growing. So last fall, I'll never forget, like it's one of those moments in this business, like we all have those, like I remember where I was. It was field day at school, and I was a special ed teacher, so I didn't have like a class. I was just kind of roaming, and I was chatting with somebody I really look up to in the business and a friend of mine, and I just asked her, I was like, I'm so desperado. I remember I just saw her Instagram story. She had just found out she was going to be on the National Wake Up Call. And so I texted her about it, and I was like, she was like, how are things going? And I was like, she was going to talk about recruiting, or she was going to talk about onboarding, not recruiting. And I was like, like I am not even worried about my onboarding is fine if I get anybody to want to work the business. I was like, I just feel like I'm grasping at straws. Like, how are you doing it? And she was like, it's so simple. And I'm going to tell you what she told me, and it changed my life. Are you ready for this, to write this down? She was like, everyone's ready. You just need to talk about coaching more. And I was like, what? And she was like, no, I'm serious. Like, that's it. She was like on your Instagram stories, like you just need, like, she's like, you never talk about coaching. Like you have to talk about coaching like all the time. And I was like, that's it? That's all I have to do? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, well, I can do that. And I was like, that can't be it, but I'm a firm believer that everything we do in this business is so simple. And that's what makes this business duplicable. And that's why I've exploded this year, because I will not do something in my business that's super complicated that my coaches won't do, unless it's something only I need to do and they can just have it, that sort of thing. But if it's not duplicable, I won't do it. So I was like, well, I can do that. You guys, I'm serious. That was the secret sauce. I'm really serious. That was all I did. So I'm going to give you some examples. Don't worry. And I can kind of talk about how I recruit from there, but it really starts there, because now I can send invites to people and say, could you ever see yourself doing what I do? And it's a super casual invite, and I don't have to use the word coach, and they don't have to ask me, well, what do you do? Because if they follow my stories, they already know what I do, because I tell them all the time what I do. So I'm going to tell you like what that looks like. So because that coach gave me examples, and because otherwise I'm like a sitting duck. Like I need one example. That's the teacher. Teacher always gives good example and not examples. So I'm going to give you some. So for example, she gave me one. She was like, when I go work at the coffee shop, like, she's like, of course, I do an Instagram story about going to the coffee shop. Some things that seem very simple, or she's like, I go every week, every Monday I go. But she's like, every Monday I tell my Instagram story world that I'm going to the coffee shop to work, because our mundane and day-to-day is someone else's sexy. And the like mundane and routine is sexy, period, to people. They don't want to see that it's this really crazy, elaborate thing that only 4 people in the world are going to be successful at. They want to see you just living your life doing it. So I started to do that, and I was working full-time. So I'm going to give you examples of how I do both, because now I'm full-time at home. I just retired last June. So what I would do at work is I would show myself not coaching. I would show going into work, won't really be on stories because I'm teaching all day, and I might show something cute in my classroom, but I also was showing that coaching wasn't an all-day event, that I was fitting it into my life. And I still do that. I'm going to parallel that with now. That's what I decided to do is I will do an Instagram story, like put the baby down for a nap, and I'll show the monitor on my Instagram story, going to get some work done. And I will go, I'll revisit to what I tell them what I do for work, because I do. So then other things I would do while I was working full time is show then when I, wasn't working, that I was using my time really wisely. Like I would get to school early so that I could get a power pocket in, and I would show myself working on my lunch hour because I wanted to attract girls that weren't afraid of the hustle. They weren't afraid of working through their lunch, and they weren't afraid of like having to go to the bathroom to like do whatever, like I would totally do that. And I also show people that by not being on my phone, that I don't answer messages on the fly, and that I don't, I'm not on my phone 24/7. It doesn't rule my life. It does create a life of freedom. So I'm very explicit with that on my stories. And to be honest, like now that I'm home full time, I struggle to show my adorable son on my Instagram stories because I'm really not on my phone when he's around. I'm really not working when he's around. So my following pretty much knows that. So some things that I like to share everything that we do as coaches. You should absolutely share every time you are on a team call, because that will attract the people that are looking for a community. You should absolutely share every time you watch a training, because that shows that you're always learning, and then your coaches are going to do what when you onboard people, they're going to do what you do. So if I never do personal development, my coaches are never going to do personal development. To be honest, I really struggle with personal development. Guess what? So do my coaches. It's because you attract your people, and you attract what you talk about. So that if you're talking about fitness on your Instagram stories, you're probably not having a huge problem attracting people to your boot camps or challenge groups, whatever you call them. If I talk about coaching a lot, I don't struggle to recruit anymore because I attract people now because that's what I'm talking about. And for a while, like I was talking about, I dealt with postpartum anxiety. Guess what I attracted? People with anxiety who didn't want to fix their anxiety. So I was like, girl, bye. Like it had to be a girl, bye. But so you have to like, just keep that in mind. What you talk about is what you're going to attract. So then I had to take it a step further too. Once I started talking about coaching just in general, I was like, no, I want to attract people who, like I told you, aren't afraid of the hustle. They aren't afraid of seeing me work hard. They don't need to see me working all day, but they do need to see me working hard. So like the other day, my son goes to daycare a couple days a week, and I worked all day because like today I knew I wasn't going to be able to work because of just extenuating circumstances. So I wasn't really on my Instagram stories that day. So when I did get on, I was like, sorry guys, I've totally been MIA today because I've been hustling and working my butt off because Leo's been at daycare, and I crushed my to-do list. So I don't want people who are afraid of working hard, because this business will not be for them and they'll drain me. So my favorite thing to do is to like take a mirror selfie, or one of my coaches likes to take a picture of her lunch, and I say all of the things that I crushed on my to-do list, like in that moment. So for her, she's sharing at her lunch, like the things that she crushed during her lunch hour for coaching. So I don't say things like, I do not use coach jargon. I do not say like I invited people. I don't say that. But I do say I'm reaching out to people because my virtual gym has open enrollment right now. See how that sounds like more attractive? It's literally the same thing. It's just like it's marketing, and it's talking to your audience. And then I always try to, when I sign up clients and coaches, I try to talk about that on my Instagram story. Like, even if it's just casually, like, oh, Saturday morning, hanging out with the fam, just welcomed a new coach to Flex Force, so excited to have her, and now we're going to go do this today. Like, it was casual, but they heard, like, I'm adding to my team, And I do the same with clients, but I usually include those on, like, the checklist, like, got my new girls set up in my virtual gym, and I use the check mark emojis. That's what I'm talking about when I say the check marks. And I'll say things like, followed up with past girls who have been interested in my boot camps or virtual gym challenge group, whatever. So all of the things that you do, just put that on a checklist so you don't have to get on every time like just did a vital behavior, but you know, it's making it sound cute. And like, I think mirror selfies, like, I just like them. So I always do it with something like that. And it's cute. My girl Morgan does it with her food because she has amazing food and people love to see her food. People like to see my mirror selfies. So, then I make it fun. You bet your butt I will go on my Instagram story and after this call and share that I got to be a guest speaker on an amazing team call and shared something that used to be a struggle for me. How cool that now it's a strength of mine, because it was a huge struggle. Like it just wasn't happening for me, or it was happening so slowly. And now, like, I had 2 girls message me today. Do you mind telling me more about what you do, the details of what you do? Then I can tackle that in a private message, but they're not wondering if they can do it. They've already decided in their head that they can do it because they've seen me working out. They see, I try to take a screenshot when I'm reading PD, and I'll post something like that. If I have like a good PD takeaway, I'll share that, you know, like, hey, I listen to personal development. I share that I'm on team trainings. I share that I set up things for my team. And you can do that the opposite. If you're on the receiving end of something for your team, share that. Like, oh my gosh, my team gets to be a part of this new training that my coach set up for me. Like, you can always, I think some people are afraid of like waiting for it to be them at the forefront. Don't do that. So like my team is locked in to be elite for this year. And so my whole downline, I tell them when they're recruiting to tell people, like I ask people after I talk to them about coaching, I say, is this something you can see yourselves doing with our elite team? And I have my whole downline do that because they are a part of that team. And it doesn't have, and you know, don't hold out for something like that. Put in a different word there. Like, is this something you can see yourselves doing with our exploding team, with our amazing girl tribe? You know, so it's something that's, use attractive words that kind of create a little bit of FOMO. And if people say no, then to be honest, like now I don't have to worry about like trying to reel them in because I have people knocking on my door ready to coach. And they're coming in with the intention of building the business. I don't want you to think that everyone that signs up with me becomes a diamond coach or does anything with a business, because that's absolutely not true. I get coach cancellation forms every single day. It's a numbers game though. So that's why I put a focus on recruiting, because then I know out of those people that I recruited, a couple of them are going to stick and they're going to find success in this business and crush it. And then they're going to help me crush it. You know, it's a ripple effect. And I found some of my best friends in this business, and I wouldn't have found them if I would not have taken my head out of my butt and asked somebody for help. And hearing that all she does is talk about coaching on her Instagram, oh my gosh, like I can do that. And I still do posts about coaching, and I do coach call to actions once in a while, but that's not how I get my people. It's all talking about it, and then on my Instagram stories, and then it's all me reaching out to people and saying, I know you guys are gonna want this, so I'll just tell you what I say. So my girls call this like a cheerleader message, and just make it your own. Like I have a girl on my team, we get along so well, but we are so different. I talk with exclamation points, so I type with exclamation points. She doesn't talk like that. So if she sends a message that I created, her following looks at her like, Jesse, you're full of shit. Like, you know, like they just don't even buy it. So make sure you make stuff your own when you hear it from other people. But I'll tell you what I say. So I usually go off of people who are watching my stories or liking my posts. Those are my 2 favorite places, because they're already engaging with you. They already told you that they like you. If they didn't like you, they wouldn't watch your stories, you know. So I say something like, I never PS start a message with hey girl, because every other MLM starts a message with hey girl, and everyone's gotten a hey girl message and no one wants them. So I never start a message with hey girl. I just start. And sometimes I say something like, I hope you don't mind me like reaching out, but I wanted to say thanks for loving on my posts or watching my stories. And I might say something funny, like if they're watching my stories, like, hey, I see you. Because some people don't know that you can see that they're watching them, and they think that's like so embarrassing, but it's funny. So I just like to tease them. And then I'm like, then I'm just like, would you, I've been wanting to ask, have you ever thought about doing what I do, or are you just being an awesome cheerleader and supportive friend? So it gives them an out. And here's something I want you to write down too, is when a lot of people will take the out that you gave them and say they're just being a supportive cheerleader or supportive friend, whatever. And I'm like, girl, thank you so much. Do not close the door. It's so easy to close the door, you guys. Don't close it. I always ask them, what are you doing for your workouts? Because it's fine. If they're totally not intrigued about being a coach, don't close the door completely. We have 2 doors. We have client doors and coach doors, and they might actually wonder, they might just not know what you do as a coach. Some people who like your posts don't watch your stories, and vice versa. But that way I can keep the conversation going. And then at the end, I always offer them to sign up as a coach. So never shut the door when they say like, no, I just love your posts. Like, give them some love. Thank you so much. And if the conversation doesn't go anywhere, don't force it. But when they're like, oh, like I don't really have a workout routine, I'm like, girl, you should totally join my virtual gym. Like, it's super casual, but I'm still like keeping the door open. And a lot of people join me that way, whether as a coach or as a client. But you guys, a lot of people, since I started doing my stories this way a year ago, remember, things take time, so you have to do them consistently. They say like 6 months, 90 days to 6 months, so 3 months to 6 months to really see a growth in your business when you change something. But a lot of people tell me, I have been thinking about it. And they may never have reached out to me, because I sure as hell never would have reached out to my coach. And now with social media, maybe I would have to somebody else. I don't know though. And, those are the people, they're never filling out my forms or, responding to polls or whatever, but they appreciate that I sent them a message. And I totally put in a bunch of emojis in there and make it a super fun message. And you guys, a lot of people don't respond, but a lot of people do. And if I send 20 messages and one of them is interested, then that's a win to me. And because it is a numbers game at some point, and you know what, they may not be ready to sign up that day, but at least I know that they're interested, and then it's up to me to continue to follow up with them. And I have a girl who I've been waiting to be able to say that she's a success story. I should probably look back and see how long. I found her on Instagram, and I had no idea, but she totally follows a bunch of coaches, and I love her to pieces. I've always loved her since the day I found her on Instagram. And I invited her, and she told me no for many, many months, repeatedly. Like, it was getting to the point, like, it was becoming personal because I loved this girl so much. And I actually took her off my follow-up list like a couple of weeks ago because I was just like sad. And I was like, I started to get in my own head, like, she's just going to join one of the other awesome coaches that she follows. And she follows one of my friends. And the other day, I still watched her stories and stuff because I love her. Like, we were friends, And she texted me the other day, Rachel, I'm ready to sign up and I want to coach. And she did. And that's happened to me a couple of times. And it's because I never write anybody off, and I never, think of anybody as in until they've clicked submit. And then they're showing me that they actually want to do this business. But that's a totally separate topic for a different day. But she saw that I was showing up every day. I was doing these simple things every day. And eventually she believed in herself. Like, you never know when seeing that one random 15-second clip from you is going to be what pulls that trigger. And because you've already established that relationship and you've let them know that you're going to keep checking in, when the time's right, you're going to be here and you can't wait for them to join your team. I love to say that to people. Like, you'll change your mind. Like, I'll be here when you do. Like, my team will be so excited to have you. And then they're kind of already thinking about like what they're missing out on. Like, they're like, your team already misses me. They don't even know me, you know, like it's a powerful feeling. So just, again, just making sure you're doing the follow-ups so that you can reach those people when they're ready. Like, there's so many top coaches who are like, yeah, I said no to this opportunity for months. And so be that person that doesn't give up on them. So when they're ready, you're there with open arms, like ready with your share card. Like, here you go. So that's really what I have, because it's really that simple. It's just talking about what we're doing as coaches. So I would really, really love to answer any questions that you guys have in the chat, or if you want to ask them live. I'd love that.
Thank you so much, Rachel. I wasn't able, I don't know why the chat's not showing up on my screen. Is it showing up on anybody else's? I wasn't able to get it. I have no idea why it's not there.
Weird, yeah.
I know. So if anybody has questions, just chime in right now and feel free to ask away. That was so much good stuff.
It's always the most awkward to be the first one. It's more awkward to sit in silence. So just be the first one.
I bet Heather has a question though. Does Heather have a question? Yes, you.
Okay, I was actually thinking of typing one out, so you called me on my bluff. So, okay, you reached Diamond. What's the next step, the easiest next step you can keep doing to build your business? What's your, like, one piece of advice?
Once you're Diamond, duplicating into your spouse account, so that you're going to continue to, one, you're going to make more money because everything you put under there is going to cycle up to you. And then you're going to you're duplicating. And then as you're growing your team, and you're going to be showing your social media that you are continuing to rank advance, you're going to be making more money, just staying consistent. So that's my biggest piece of advice, is like, whatever you do in your business, duplicate into your spouse account.
Good tip. Jamie's going to have questions now. Hey, Heather. Good stuff. Does anybody else have questions?
I do.
Shauna, go for it.
So would you hit Success Club under your spouse's and under yours, or you wouldn't worry about that?
No, I did. So I would always hit Success Club in my account first. And Success Club 10 was always my non-negotiable. And then when I really decided to like be doing this, and I was like, I'm going to do this whether people join me or not. And when I made that choice, I was like, I'm going to hit higher Success Club numbers. So anything beyond 10, I always have put in my spouse account. Now, once you have a second business center, you don't really do that anymore. But I 100% built that way. I know it brought me more money, and it easily builds him then, because everything else I put under him.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, Shauna. Any other questions? Who wants to go next? Glenda, no questions tonight?
Okay, I don't really have a question, but, well, maybe I do. I don't know. I have the hardest time convincing people that they need to be a coach, like even a discount coach. They think that I'm scamming them. I don't know why. I'm like the most trustworthy person I know. Come on. But I have a really hard time with that. Like, can you script it out for me?
Yeah, I can show you what I do. I always go back and forth on this on my business, and I really think everyone should sign up as a discount coach. I always go back to that because I signed up as a discount coach. You never know who's going to just like randomly do it. And the upgrading is like a huge pain in the ass, in my opinion. And to be honest, even my girls who are religiously on Shakeology, then they think I'm scamming them by, I'm like, you already trust me. Like, you've been in my boot camp for 6 months. I'm like, I'm just trying to save you money, but trying to convince them, you're right. You end up trying to convince them, and then nobody's happy because convincing is yucky. So yes, let me find my script. And some people tell me they don't want to do it still, and that is fine. Oh, I don't have a chat. So I will send it to Michelle and she can give it to you guys. But it just says like, I'll just read it to you so you get the gist, but then I'll send it to her. It's like, okay, girl, so here's your card. It's going to say coach, but don't let that freak you out. I'm signing you up that way so that when you need more Shakeology or decide to try some awesome snack bars, performance line, etc., you'll get it at my price. I'm all about you saving money. The other cool thing is that if you have any friends or coworkers who may want to do it with you, I'll help you get them signed up, and Beachbody will actually pay you a referral bonus just for bringing a friend with you. So you can start thinking of people who want to do this with you and hold you accountable. And then I have like an asterisk and it says, if you wish not to receive the discount, I can send you another form. Just let me know. And pretty much everybody signed up.
That was perfect. Thank you, Rachel. I'll send that. I'll post that in the team page when she sends that. Everybody's nodding. Yep, that was great.
Yeah, I get that from another coach. I'm not a wordsmith, so I'm all about sharing like awesome verbiage. That's not a strength of mine. So another coach gave this to me, and yeah, it was like, and it was great because I haven't had anybody do this because I've only been implementing this for a couple of weeks. But how awesome is that when you're already telling, first of all, in this day and age, referral bonuses are everywhere. It's like there are referral bonuses for American Eagle now. Like it's crazy. And so they know that if they sign somebody up, they can, make money, and them getting a check or money dropping into their bank account from Beachbody is a game changer. And you never know when that's going to make a difference for someone to, honestly, that's why I started coaching, is because my mom told me she wanted to sign up. And I was like, well, shit, I can make $50. And I did. And I was like, I like making $50. And then here I am, I make a lot more than $50. So, and I don't know, maybe that was what the tipping point was for me. And I'm like, I kick myself that I ever got away from signing everyone up as discount coaches, because you just never know when that friend is going to be like, hey, what are you doing? And then instead of them, referrals are great if you can get them from people, but it's even better if you can turn someone you never saw as a working coach into a working coach. And hell, if they sign up 2 people and you sign them up as a discount coach, monkey see, monkey do, they're going to sign their people up as discount coaches. What if you just created an emerald, like the ripple effect is crazy. So I'm going to send it right out for it.
Perfect. Thank you. That's right.
You're welcome.
Sign up as discount coaches. And then I stopped for a while because somebody questioned me on it. And I was like, oh.
We were talking about this at leadership. Actually, there was like a really big push from corporate last year to stop doing the discount coach route. It was huge, and it was very it was really kind of frowned upon. Like it was really like, stop doing this. And so everyone kind of did, and I did too, and I regretted it because I was like, and that felt weird to me to stop, but I did, and I stopped for like a year. And to be honest, you guys, now at this point in my business, I do not need to sign people up as discount coaches. I have enough people who want to work the business. If I just sign up working coaches, I still sign up like 15 working coaches a month. But I'm like, no, like that's how I signed up. That feels the most authentic to me. And if I would have found out 3 months in that I could have been saving $15 every month by using something I was using every day, I would have been pissed. And that probably would have made me quit. I would have been like, okay, I just missed out on $45. Like that's irritating. And now it's the opposite. Corporate is definitely on board with signing everyone up as discount coaches. So that's definitely how a lot of the girls at the top have built.
Good. Excellent. Let's see here. Okay, so do you just focus mainly on Instagram now?
Yes.
Yeah.
So because social media is changing every day. I don't love to talk about social media because it could literally change tomorrow, like what I'm about to say. So like Michelle said, she saw me in Social Team Builder when like pages were like popping. And I say popping because it feels so old. Like my like page sucks. And it's not because I don't have a great following, and every single girl who follows me is like my niche market. They really are. But Facebook does not care about like pages, so it shows them to no one. Like I have over 27,000 followers on my Facebook like page, and my post reached like about 500 people. That's bogus. So I really just use Instagram because, one, I think it's way more fun, and I like just posting 4 to 6 times a week on my feed and posting just like a super pretty picture, and then everything else moves to stories. And I think stories are just so fun that I do focus mostly on Instagram. I do post like my good ones, my good posts. I will mirror to like I use my Facebook personal page because that does better than my Facebook like page now. So I will post stuff on my personal page sometimes.
Me too. I had the same thing happen to me. I think it was like I remember, I think I was at a Super Saturday with the girls, and like I said to them, I'm like, I don't know what the hell just happened, but I went from like 100 likes plus on my like page per post to like nothing.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, one weekend, everything changed, and I have like 15,000 followers over there. But yeah, same thing happened to me. So okay, okay, you already answered that. You post like 4 to 6 times a week, and everything's done in your stories. Amazing.
I have a question.
Go.
I creeped your Instagram. Do you use Lightroom for filters?
I do.
Okay. I tried it, but the filter I used was like way too bright, and it looked really good on where I was purchasing it. And then I tried it on my photos, and it's way too bright. So
I purchased my presets from Etsy and just pay a couple bucks, and I sometimes will purchase a couple because I'm like, well, if I'm not paying 12 bucks and I pick, I got 3 filters and pick one, I'm like, I would pay $12 for one filter. So, and it is kind of hard to tell if it's not on your lighting. But yeah, I just search Lightroom presets on Etsy, and that's what I use.
okay.
I did the same thing too.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When you were still working full-time, did you use any of those posting apps that helped you post to your Instagram?
No. I never did. If I needed to post during the day, like now it's great because now it's just 4 to 6 times a week. So even now, like if we're busy at night, and even if it was a day I planned to post, like I just don't sweat it because we really only need to be posting 4 to 6 times a week. And, but before, when it was different, like when I first started coaching, like the norm was 5 to 8 times a day. So that was like the expectation. But that was before stories and whatever. I won't cry about it. But that's what I meant. Like when I would like go to the bathroom, like I would go to the bathroom to like put up a post. But even still, I don't use apps, but I still what I do is I get like kind of in creation mode, and I'll just write, like I'll think of one great post, and then usually more will come to me, and then I'll just like write them all out in my notes. So like I have that done. So like right now I'm putting up a post, but I'm not typing it. Like I'm literally doing copy paste, and I have an album saved in my phone of like Instagram ready photos. So this is taking me 2 seconds to do a post versus like sitting down like, crap, I haven't thought of what to say. Does that make sense? And you just never know when a good post is going to come to you. Like I joke with this on my team. Like I always think of great posts when I'm going to bed, and then I'm like, I'll remember in the morning. That's so good. Never remember. So I now just make myself grab my phone and write it down. And I always think of great posts when I'm like going to the bathroom. So make sure you take your phone in there. You'll find like where your creation mode is. Like you just never know when it's going to strike. So just use your notes app for that. And then some things that I create, I never use them. And some things that I do, like I thought of this one last night. I'm posting it right now because I thought it was funny. And I'm like, that's cutting the line. That's a funny post. It'll probably like go over like terribly, but you just never know.
That's great. Oh, Heather?
Okay, I have a teaching question. I'm also a teacher.
Okay.
So did you find, first of all, did you just fit it in pockets of your time during the day?
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, did you find it really hard to focus on your job? Like when did you hit the point where you were like, okay, I can't do both of this anymore?
I've never done both at the same time. I always teach my girls to never do that. When kids would walk in my room, my phone is down. I'm not using my phone. That's a huge reason I got an Apple Watch. So special ed teacher, I'm like, because when I needed a timer for my phone, it is very tempting then to check your notifications, to check your texts or whatever when kids are in my room, like phones at my desk. And then I would pick it up and I would hustle during lunch. So when I was on teacher mode, I was only on teacher mode, because then it's not fair to anybody. And I do the same thing now at home. When I'm doing coach work, my husband knows, like, I'm coaching. I'm not on wife duty. I'm not on mom duty. And then when I'm not doing coach work, then I wear my other hats and I'm not checking my phone. I'm not answering messages, because then it's not fair to the girl. I've fallen into this before. I give a crappy answer to a question, or I don't track them in my tracking system. And then it's obviously not fair to my loved ones or to the other job that I was being paid to do. So I never do both. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that was going to lead me.
Right now.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense for sure. But that was going to lead me into my second. What tracking system do you use? Because I find it hard with pockets of time to do something kind of that works well.
So it's just about, like, the more you work in pockets of time, the faster you'll get. And my tip I have like a whole time management training, but my tip for working in pockets of time is do one task in that pocket of time, and do not answer messages until you're just sitting down and answering messages, because then there's no excuse to not track. And if you're not tracking, you're going to miss people, and you're going to miss out on money, and you're going to miss out on clients and coaches. So that being said, I used, for the first 3 years of my business, I used Teensy, and I love Teensy. I have nothing but great things to say about Teensy, but now I use Google Streak, and I'll never go back. I'm obsessed with Google Streak. And for all of you guys that are teachers, you will probably like Google Streak a lot. It's very, very teacher brain-esque. But like one of my coach friends, she has ADHD, and she's like, I hate Google Streak. I cannot use it. It's very all in your face, but that's how my brain works. So I love Google Streak now. I just switched like a month ago, and I'll never go back.
Awesome. Does anyone else have any other questions? No, I think that's it. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Rachel, for doing this call. I think you just lit a fire under everybody, and just, I think, gave them the confidence that they need to kind of go forward and talk about coaching a whole lot more and be confident with our team. I mean, we've been ranked top 100 in Canada now every month for 2018, which has been huge. So I always encourage them, talk about that, talk about our team.
Yes, you guys should. You should always say that. Now, I said that I do that with my coaching info. Is this something you can see yourself doing with our elite team? You should be saying that. Is this something you can see yourself doing with a Canadian top 100 team? Mm-hmm. Who cares if they're not in Canada? It does not matter. Does not matter. People I'm talking to, they have no idea what elite means. Does not matter. Mm-hmm. That's a sexy phrase.
I like that, a sexy phrase. We'll build some sexy phrases, ladies.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much from all of us for doing this call tonight. If you ever need a guest speaker, I'm more than happy to do it for you in return. So everybody have a great night, the rest of the night. We'll chat to you guys later.
Bye. Thanks for having me, guys.